Welcome all of you to the online classes of biology. So, we were studying chapter 8, how do organisms reproduce? Okay, and we have completed various topics like why organisms need to create exact copies of themselves. Okay, then we have studied the importance of variation, and then we have studied different modes of reproduction, especially asexual type of reproduction like fission, okay, fragmentation, regeneration, etc. Now we are going to study about the process of budding. So in organisms like hydra can also regenerate, okay, and they also use what budding. Okay, so in budding, what happens in a specific part of their body, cell division continuously takes place, and this results in the formation of a small bud. And this bud, when they get matured, you can see a small bud is arising. Okay, and this bud, when they get matured, these buds will grow and get matured, and when they get fully matured they will get detached. Okay, you can see that this is fully matured bud, and this bud will get detached. They will get separated from the parent and will grow as a new individual. So this is what budding that is taking place in hydra. Okay, so in hydra, how bud formation takes place in some part of the body. Okay, the cells continuously divide and form a mass of cells, and that develop into a small process called bud. This bud, when it get matured, fully matured, will get detached from the parent body and becomes a new independent individual. Okay, so we were studying about what various asexual reproduction methods. So what all we have studied in this? We have studied about fission. Okay, then we have studied about fragmentation, then regeneration and budding. Okay, the next is what? Spore formation. Okay, so in some organisms like fungus, spore formation is the method of reproduction in them. Okay, so their body is just, they are fungus, so their body is thread like. Okay, and it will be growing through the substratum, and these thread like structures are known as hypha. Okay, hypha, what it is? Hypha. And this hypha, group of hyphae are known as mycelium. Okay, and some of the hypha, when they are getting what matured, some of the hypha, they becomes erect. Okay, and this erect hypha are known as sporangiophores. What are they? Sporangiophores. So these are the sporangiophores. What you can see is sporangiophores, and this bear what? Sporangium at their tips, and the sporangium contains what? An air sac and a number of spores. Okay, the air sacs, when it expands, that will results in the bursting of the sporangium, and the spores will get dispersed, and this dispersed spores will grow into new hypha. So this is the process of what? Spore formation, which is taking place in fungus like what? Rhizopus. Have you heard about rhizopus, which is also known as the bread mold? Okay, if you keep the bread outside, you can see that black type of growth on them. So this is due to this type of fungus. Okay, so fungus like rhizopus, they do what? Reproduction by the formation of spores at the tip of the sporangiophores inside the sporangium. So these are what? Sporangium. Okay, these are sporangium, and these are the tiny powder like structures are spores, and these sporangium are born on sporangiophores, and you can see the what? Hypha, which is growing horizontally through the substratum. Okay, and some of them, they get erected, and they are known as sporangiophores, and they bear what? Sporangium at their tips. Clear? And you can see this rhizoids. Okay, which are useful in absorbing the nutrients from the substratum. See, is it clear? So this is the spore formation in Rhizopus. The next topic is what? Vegetative propagation. So vegetative propagation is a kind of propagation that is found in plants. Okay, so you can see that the vegetative part, what is the reproductive part of the flower? Sorry, reproductive part of the plant, it is flower. Okay, so the root, stem, leaves, etc. are the vegetative part, which are not taking part in the reproduction directly, isn't it? Roots and stem, leaves, etc. do different functions. Like root, they absorb water and minerals. Stem, they help in the conduction of water and minerals, isn't it? And also food. And leaves prepare food. So these are the functions they do in the plants. So in addition to their normal functions, if this plant parts are taking part in the reproduction process, that is known as what? Vegetative propagation. Okay, and this property can be utilized in different horticulture or agricultural methods, isn't it? Have you heard about layering, grafting, etc.? Okay, so here what the vegetative propagation property of the plants is utilized by human being. Okay, so in layering, what we are doing? In layering, we are inducing the plant parts to develop the roots. Understood? So by making a small cut and then covering that cut part with soil, what will happen? In roots will arise. Okay, so that kind of inducing rooting is known as layering. And in grafting, what we are doing is we are combining two different plants. Okay, so in that one plant which is having the root is known as stalk. Okay, stalk, and the other one, okay, the plant which is having the root is known as the stalk, and the plant part which is attached to the stalk is called the scion. Okay, so two plants of the same species will be combined in such a way that they develop into a means the scion will grow on the stalk. So that is called what? Grafting. So all this these are what? Artificial vegetative propagation. What are they? Layering and grafting. This is also based on what? Based on the vegetative propagation of the plants. Is it clear? So this are grafting and layering are used in many plants like sugarcane, roses, grapes, okay, etc. for the agricultural purposes. Okay, and what is the advantage of vegetative propagation? So the first point is what? This plants which are raised by vegetative propagation, they can bear fruits and flowers earlier. Otherwise, what will happen? From the seeds, the plant should germinate, isn't it? It should grow, it should complete its vegetative phase, then only it will give flowers and fruits, isn't it? But if we are doing vegetative propagation, what will happen? They already completed that vegetative phase in their life, so they can easily bear flowers and fruits. Okay, then another point or another important feature of vegetative propagation is what? This is the only method that can be used in such kind of plants which will not have the capacity to produce seeds. Okay, have you seen seeds in banana or banana? Okay, they will never produce what? Seeds, isn't it? Or if you have a hibiscus plant, will they produce any seeds? Can we use the seeds for growing them? Never, isn't it? So in such a kind of plants, okay, this or rose plants, jasmines, etc., we can only use vegetative propagation or for the growing of this kind of plants. Okay, then another important point is in vegetative reproduction, the progeny produced will be genetically similar. Okay, we have studied that in sexual reproduction, what will happen? Variation can happen. So if we take the seeds of a plant, okay, mango tree which is giving very sweet type of mangoes, it is not sure that the seeds of this, when they grow and develop, they will give the same taste of the parent plant. Why? Because the seed is produced due to what? Sexual reproduction, and in sexual reproduction there is chance of what? Variation. Understood? But if we follow the vegetative propagation, there won't be what? Variation, and this results in what? In the results in the same type of progeny as the parents. The production of the same type of progeny as of the parents. That is the advantage of what? Vegetative reproduction. So you can see that plants can the different plant parts can be used for what? For producing the new type of new plants, isn't it? Their roots can be used, their stems can be used, okay? Or there are examples where the leaves are also taking part in reproduction, isn't it? Have you heard about bryophyllum? If bryophyllum leaves, okay, leaves of bryophyllum can produce what? The new plants. So if the leaf of this plant is fallen down, you can see from the notches new buds arises and they grow into new plant. Okay, so different plant parts like roots, stem or leaves, if they take part in reproduction, that is known as what? Vegetative reproduction. And this, when human being is done, okay, when human being is done vegetative reproduction in plants, then it is known as artificial vegetative reproduction. And layering, grafting, budding, all these are different kinds of artificial vegetative reproduction. Okay, now have you heard about tissue culture? So tissue culture is a method where what we do, culturing of tissues, a small part of the plant, a small tissue is enough for what? Growing a new plant. So this property is based on a or this tissue culture is based on a property of plant that is known as totipotency. What it is? Totipotency. That is, each cell of a plant is having the capacity to produce the whole plant. Okay, the capacity of a plant cell to form a complete plant from it is known as what? Totipotency. So in this technique, what we do is the cells or tissues will be placed in an artificial medium, okay, which contains a semi-solid medium which contains the various plant nutrients and hormones. And in this, what happened? This cells divide and form a group of tissues known as callus. Okay, undifferentiated mass of cells, meristematic cells will form. This is known as what? Callus. What it is? Callus. Okay, and this callus will be transferred to another medium containing hormones for growth and differentiation. So what will happen? This tissues, okay, this callus will differentiate to form what? The plant. Understood? Or mature plants will be produced from this. Understood? So like this, the tissue culture is very useful, especially in producing what? Disease free plants, okay, from the what? Infected parent plant. Understood? So what is this? What is happening in this is we can use meristems. Okay, meristems can be used, and this meristems will not be affected by viruses especially. Okay, and this meristems, if we use for culturing, that part, okay, the meristem part will not have any infection of the virus. The other whole part is, even though the other whole part is infected with virus, meristems will not be infected by virus because virus cannot reach to there. Understood? So if that part is used, and if we cultivate in the tissue culture medium, they can grow and produce the new plant without any viral infections. Clear? And it is also known as micropropagation. Why it is known as micropropagation? From a small part, a number of plants, okay, can be produced. A very small part of the tissue, okay, is enough for producing thousands of plants. So these are some of the advantages. Okay, then haploid plants can be produced. Okay, if we take any the haploid cells for cultivation in the tissue culture medium, then haploid plant can be produced. Likewise, lot of advantage is there in the tissue culture. So tissue culture is also known as what? Micropropagation. And this technique is based on a fact that what the plant shows totipotency, means the ability of the plant to produce the plant cells to produce the complete plant from it. Understood? So when we keep this tissue in the medium, the cells will divide continuously and form a mass of tissues called a callus. And this callus, when it is transferred to another medium having different hormones for growth and differentiation, what will happen? Plantlets will arise, and then they can be removed from the lab and can be planted in the soil. Understood? So this technique is called what? Tissue culture. And these are having some advantages, like we can grow, okay, means plants from deceased parent plant. Okay, disease free plants can be grown from deceased parent plant. Okay, and from a small tissue, a number of clones, okay, which are same, can be produced. So all these are the advantages of tissue culture. So till now we have studied about various types of asexual reproduction. Okay, so asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction, if we compare, what are the difference between them? In asexual reproduction, only one parent is involved, but in sexual reproduction there are involvement of two parents, male and female parents will be there. Okay, and in asexual reproduction there is no gamete formation, but here in sexual reproduction there is gamete formation. Fusion of gametes and zygote formation is not there in asexual reproduction, but it is there in sexual reproduction. And no variation will be produced where? In asexual reproduction. But in sexual reproduction, the chance of variation is much more when compared to asexual reproduction.